What would happen if death wasn't the end? Since the beginning of humanity, people have tried to answer one of the most terrifying questions of our existence: what happens after we die? Every civilization has feared death. However, every civilization has also refused to believe that it's truly the end. For thousands of years, people have searched for a way to cross the invisible line that separates the living from the dead. Some believed the soul could return. Others believed the dead never really left. But some religions, cults, and beliefs went even further. They weren't content with imagining the afterlife. Around the world, ancient rituals continue to challenge everything we think we know about life, death, and what might exist beyond. They tried to bring the dead back. In different corners of the planet, there are rituals so strange they seem to defy the laws of nature. We're not looking for ghosts. We're not looking for monsters. We're looking for something much more fascinating: cultures that believe the dead can return. From sacred rivers where thousands are cremated each year, ceremonies where people speak to corpses, cults that claim to resurrect spirits, religions that believe death is only a temporary door, to mountain monasteries where death becomes meditation. Today we'll travel through some of the most shocking and mysterious rituals in the world that will make this journey reveal how humanity has tried to answer a question that science has never fully solved. What happens after the last breath? Our investigation begins in one of the oldest civilizations that exist. When it comes to raising the dead, few traditions are as famous as Haitian voodoo. The word zombie was born right here. According to local legends, certain priests known as bokers possess the power to bring a deceased person back to life. However, the story is far more complex. Believers claim that certain rituals allow them to capture the soul of an individual after death. Subsequently, through secret ceremonies, that person could return as a being with no will of their own. For decades, testimonies were recorded from villagers who claimed to have seen deceased relatives come back. One of the most famous cases was that of Clairvius Narcisse, declared dead in 1962. Years later he reappeared, claiming he had been turned into a zombie. Although scientists offered explanations involving toxic substances and states of catalepsy, for many believers this remains one of the greatest mysteries of voodoo. Can someone truly return from the dead? The answer continues to divide scientists and believers alike. In the mountains of Indonesia lives the Toraja people. Here, death does not mean an immediate farewell. When a family member passes away, their body may remain inside the home for months or even years. Remarkably, family members continue talking to them as if they were still alive. They bring them food. They share the day's news. They even give them a place at family gatherings. For the Toraja, the deceased is simply ill and has not yet completed their spiritual journey. But there is an even more striking ceremony. It is called manene. During this ritual, the corpses are exhumed. The bodies are cleaned, dressed in new clothing, and paraded through the village. Families believe that this keeps their bond with their ancestors alive. For outsiders it is chilling. For them, it is an expression of eternal love. Thousands of years before our era, the ancient Egyptians developed one of the religions most obsessed with life after death. Their goal was simple: to live forever. Pharaohs built enormous pyramids to guarantee their resurrection. Priests performed elaborate mummification processes. They believed the soul needed to preserve the body in order to return. If the body disappeared, eternal existence was at risk. That is why they buried treasures, food, weapons, pets, and everything that might be needed in the next life. The god Osiris embodied the triumph over death. According to legend, he was killed, dismembered, and later brought back to life, becoming a symbol of resurrection. One of the most influential beliefs in the world revolves around a return from death. According to Christianity, Jesus died on the cross and rose again on the third day. This event forms the cornerstone of the Christian faith. Furthermore, various Christian denominations believe that at the end of time a general resurrection will occur. The dead will rise again, and they will be judged. For centuries, this concept transformed the way millions of people understood death, not as a definitive end, but as a transition into a new existence. In certain traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, there is a fascinating belief. Some spiritual masters can choose where to be reborn. After they pass away, their disciples begin a search. They travel through entire villages and regions, looking for signs of the new incarnation. When they find a child who recognizes objects from the previous life or remembers details impossible to know, they believe they have found the reborn master. Although it is not a physical resurrection, it does represent a way of returning after death. This practice has been used for centuries to identify important spiritual leaders. In the frozen regions of Siberia, ancient shamanic traditions survive. Shamans claim to be able to travel spiritually to the world of the dead, through dance, drums, deep trances, and altered states of consciousness. Some claim to encounter deceased ancestors. Others say they recover lost souls in order to restore the health of the sick. For these cultures, the boundary between life and death is far thinner than we might imagine. Across various regions of Africa, ancestors continue to be active members of the community. The deceased can influence harvests, health, weather, and the prosperity of families. That is why ceremonies are held to invoke their presence. Some rituals include sacred masks, frenzied dances, and trance states in which participants claim to be possessed by ancestral spirits. For believers, the dead never truly disappear. They simply continue living on another plane. In recent times, new beliefs surrounding the conquest of death have emerged. Some groups place their faith in cryogenics. Others believe that human consciousness will eventually be transferred to computers. There are even movements that hold that technology will one day allow deceased people to be revived. Although these ideas belong more to speculative science than to traditional religion, they reflect a universal human desire, the need to escape death. From the mountains of Indonesia to the temples of the Caribbean, from the pyramids of Egypt to the monasteries of Tibet, humanity has spent thousands of years trying to defeat death. Some cultures believe the dead return, others claim they never truly leave, and many hold that real life begins after the last breath. Perhaps the most important question is not whether the dead can come back, but why the living have spent all of history trying to find them once more. Because as long as death exists, so will the hope of conquering it. And that mystery continues to accompany us to this day. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and let us know in the comments which of these beliefs you found most striking. See you on the next journey into the most astonishing mysteries on the planet.